no, wait, global warming is going to destroy everyone's future ever. There's so many mixed messages about, what life is supposed to be, how men should be, how women should be. The world has just destroyed Gen Z, or at least tried to. Cults, I almost got suckered into that Axiom cult that was branding all the celebrity women. It makes sense he's attracted to Andrew Tate.
The question I have about a very strong influence, sadly, that is going on the internet lately, namely Andrew Tate, and I wanted to ask, what do you think about this persona? What's your take on Tate?
I can actually make a claim. I do not know what Andrew Tate sounds like. I've never heard him speak. I didn't even know what he looked like until fairly recently. And this is because he came up like, I don't know, someone brought him up in some context. And then I looked him up, just Wikipedia. This was the no phone browser, right? So all I could do is go to Wikipedia. And it was very clear that he was a sociopath and a con artist from the beginning. Like just reading kind of like quotes from him and his like page. The city I'm from, Vancouver, has a lot of like sketchy guru, coach, con artist type people. And it's, a lot of multi-level marketing and all that. So my radar's pretty good. Also cults. I almost got suckered into that, what is it, Axiom cult that was branding all the celebrity women. That's a topic. In future episodes, Dan will tell random stories of the craziest stuff. But anyhow, my radar is fairly good for con artists, and it was just so obvious. And so actually just the other day, a member of the ENFP Unleashed community, and he wrote me just to say he was going to be in Prague and if we wanted to meet up, and met up with him the other day, and we just went for a walk around the river and this sort of thing. And I forget how it came up initially, but I think it was just the lack of decent role models for men and the dating world and that whole thing. And it came up that one of his cousins was a fan of Andrew Tate, and his cousin, not a surprise, is not necessarily crushing it in life and does not have the best maybe values and opinions of women, which explains kind of the connection as a chicken or egg thing, right? Which came first? And to be honest, there's someone who sent me, probably was a year or two ago, like a motivational video from Andrew Tate, which of course I couldn't open on my phone because I had no web browser, so I never actually watched it. But later I recognized the name when it came up, and I looked him up on Wikipedia and stuff like that. And this friend has been like, every relationship, it takes two to tangle, but I'm fairly sure he got a few bad apples, or at least one bad apple in his day. Like he has a child with this woman who like straight up lies in court and is kind of psychotic. So that will mess with a guy's head and whatever. So it makes sense he's attracted to Andrew Tate. So one of the things with any con artist, sociopath, even straight up Nazi propaganda is it's not all lies. They work truths into it. The reason Andrew Tate stuff spread is it hit certain deep insecurities in people. It hit certain probably truths. Like, yeah, if a guy works out and has money, he's going to have a better dating life than if he doesn't, right? And the fact that no one's really saying that, or just saying to men, like, get your shit together and you'll probably like have a healthier dating life than if you like play video games all day and live with your parents. So there can be some truths mixed in with a very toxic message, if that makes sense. And I think that's what's happened I think that's kind of what has worked for him. Otherwise, just being polarizing, right? It works with the natural media, is you can be this highly polarizing person. But from my understanding, like reading his backstory, he claims to be like a male advocate, but he's only made his money cheating men and conning men. Like he runs these chat girls that like just scam lonely men and basically steal their money and stuff. So he's just a straight grifter con artist who hates men and women equally. And so that's my 2 cents. I think I think there's definitely a need, and this is something I know you and I have talked about, and we might start doing some topics on this on the show for basically like positive role models and positive discussions for younger men these days, especially
Yeah.
where things have changed. There's so many mixed messages about, what life is supposed to be, how men should be, how women should be, how like there's so many mixed messages. Let's just leave it at that for this show about what someone should be like. And I will admit, like the action movies that I have prominently displayed before me of the 90s and early 2000s, uh, I'm trying to think if Nicolas Cage ever cried. He definitely cried in at least one of those movies, I think. But they they may like the classic action movies may have given some toxic views, but at least they gave guys a view, like here's something to shoot towards, which I would argue is better than nothing to shoot towards. And I think um, one of this is going down a bit of a different tangent with Zoomers in general, with Gen Z, is there's something in this book I'm writing, there's a chapter on this, so I don't want to give away too much until I've formed it all. But the basic idea is that the world has just destroyed Gen Z, or at least tried to. We have three things in our existence: we have the past, we have the present, and we have the future.
Mm-hmm.
So, first, we've taken the past and built up all this shame in it, right? There's no longer like a pride like in, hey, you're from Canada. Canada's a great country. Look at these things we've done. It's like, I haven't been in Canada in a while, but I believe our Canada Day is mostly spent in shame of like whatever it is. The UK is spent in shame. We should have all the shame about the empire and this and that, and not necessarily talking to the other side. So the UK empire had a big role in slavery, although the UK Empire spent more money than it ever made from slavery to abolish slavery around the whole world. I think tens of thousands of British soldiers died eliminating slavery. You have these different topics and it's obviously a very complicated scenario, right, to deal with the past. But having shame in your past, whether it's your personal past, your family's past, or your country's past, is not a place to live from, right? Just from a basic psychological perspective. If you feel shameful of where you come from, that's not good. That's really not good. Um, then you have the present. We've went and said, well, here's these devices you can hold in your hand, which will massively distract you, lower your IQ, and make you full of anxiety. Have fun in the present, Gen Z. But don't worry, there's always the future, right? It doesn't matter. You can be from the worst past. You can have a terrible present. But if you have a future to strive towards, and even in the worst scenario, even in war, even in famine, people can look to the future. It's not like they could create a vision for the future that was so apocalyptic that it would cover every single human and oh no, wait, global warming is going to destroy everyone's future ever. So no matter what you do, you came from an abusive household, an impoverished country, you worked your way up. You've got through it. You're finally working hard. You're starting to earn some money, and well, we're all going to die and be in poverty anyhow, so who cares? Yeah. So there has been a collective effort to destroy Gen Z, I would say. And I am so fortunate to know some amazing Gen Zers, including yourself, including I have a couple clients, guys in their young 20s who don't use social media, aren't online really, are like working out and reading and like staying really mentally healthy. There are some great people fighting the fight, the other way, reading classic literature and having a brain still and everything else. But there is really it's like there's a collective effort to destroy Gen Z. And just when you really look at it, and the most extreme is that future. because you need to have a future that you can strive towards, right? And be excited about. And I think that's what I try to bring to people and I want to do more of is helping them have a vision for a life that's really exciting. I don't think people are going to put their phone away and wake up earlier and make big sacrifices to like work a boring corporate job and then die in the apocalypse 20 years from now when there's an inferno, right? It's like, why would you bother? Just like, screw it. Just doom scroll to the end. And so I think that's something that, of those three, I think all three are important. The past is probably the one that I know the least about. I'll get the most in trouble about trying to discuss, how we should feel about the past. The present, I definitely know. Get offline at least a
Mm-hmm.
day a week. Every Sunday, keep your phone off, go out without it, whatever. And the future is the most important, though, right? We need a future we can be excited about. And the truth is, like, if I go on YouTube and I start going down the AI route, I am not excited about the future either, right? I can watch this and that video and suddenly I'm like, well, the world's gonna suck. I better like,
Mm-hmm.
but the world could also be the greatest world it's ever been. I mean, in my own life, every couple of years has always been better than the last couple of years since high school. High school sucked and has been progressively getting better like always since then. And there's not really a reason. I've not seen any evidence presented to me to say it should get any worse. Um, and so I think one of the reasons, yeah, I think that one reason that, let's say, an Andrew Tate resonates with some people that he shouldn't, like, there's certain people that it makes total sense, like, the why they'd be drawn to that. But there's people who shouldn't be drawn to that and are because I think they see at least there's some kind of future painted for me. Like, hey, make some money, go to the gym, do this, do that. You can get a hot girlfriend at least. You can have some success. Like, that's better than the message of whatever you do, you're just going to die in global warming because the top 1% is stealing your wealth and everyone hates you and all these different
Yeah.
things. And so maybe that's a thing we can try and do on our little show here, as well as focus on a positive future as well. So I think that's it for this show. As you might guess, we're very open to topics and suggestions for future episodes. So the best thing to do is leave that in the comment. If you've enjoyed this show, probably should have said this like 10 times earlier on to click like and tell us you liked it or whatever. But if you like this format and whatever, please mention in the comments. If you don't, I don't care because we're probably just going to keep doing it because I think it works well. Yeah, we'll do it every couple weeks, but we'll post it kind of spread out and all that stuff.